My brothers and sisters, there will be moments in life when everything feels like it's falling apart. The people you trusted change, the plans you built collapse. The path you were so sure about disappears right beneath your feet. And in that silence, you begin to wonder, why is this happening to me? But what you may not realize is this is exactly how Allah begins to change your life, not by giving you more comfort, not by keeping you safe in routine, but by gently pulling you away from what is temporary so He can give you what is eternal. You didn't lose your way. You were redirected. You weren't abandoned. You were chosen for something deeper, something greater. And today, I'll share with you 7 powerful ways that Allah transforms your life even when you don't realize it's happening. Because sometimes the pain you feel now is actually the beginning of everything you've been asking for. Sometimes the first sign that Allah is changing your life is when your own plans begin to fall apart. The things you were so sure about suddenly collapse. The job you thought was secure is gone. The relationship you poured your heart into ends without warning. The goals you were working towards start slipping further away, no matter how hard you try to hold on. And in those moments it hurts deeply. You feel like the ground beneath you is shaking. You sit alone, wondering where it all went wrong. You cry and whisper, Ya Allah, why is this happening to me? Didn't I pray? Didn't I ask you for guidance? But my dear brothers and sisters, what feels like a painful rejection is often a hidden redirection. Allah is not pushing you down, He's pulling you out. Out of what was trapping you, out of what was deceiving you, out of what you thought was good for you but would have broken you further down the road. His mercy isn't always soft. Sometimes it comes as a storm that tears apart the things that were never meant to stay in your life. And that's where real change begins. Not in your comfort zone, not when everything is easy and predictable, but in the wreckage, in the silence after something ends, in the confusion of watching your plans dissolve into nothing. That's when Allah begins to rebuild you with His plan. You see, our plans are limited. We only plan based on what we know. But Allah, the one who sees the future, the past, and what's hidden in every heart, He plans based on what you don't see. You may have been asking Him for something that looked beautiful on the outside, but He knew it was full of poison on the inside. So He took it from you not to punish you, but to protect you. And protection doesn't always feel like peace in the beginning. It sometimes feels like loss, like failure, like abandonment. But it's none of those things. It's mercy, a hard mercy, a deep, soul-shaking kind of mercy that clears the space for something far greater. Sometimes Allah changes your life by removing what you thought you couldn't live without, so you can finally see what you were meant to live for. And that's not always easy to accept, but it's always perfect in the end. When your plans fall apart, it's not the end of your story. It's the start of Allah's story for you. And His story is never random. Every closed door, every unanswered call, every missed opportunity, it's all leading you back to something better, something stronger, something that will finally bring your heart peace, not just excitement. And here's the most beautiful part. When you finally reach what Allah had written for you, you look back at all the things that didn't work out, all the heartbreaks and disappointments, and you'll say, Alhamdulillah, now I understand. Now I see why that had to happen first. So the next time something ends unexpectedly, don't collapse. Don't fall apart. Take a deep breath and whisper from your heart, Ya Allah, I trust you. Even when I don't understand, I know you never make mistakes. Because the truth is, what looks like destruction is often the beginning of transformation. Allah doesn't always improve your life by adding more. Sometimes He improves it by taking something away. Not to leave you empty, but to make space for something better, something only He can give. And that's how the change begins. Not with more, but with less. Not with answers, but with surrender. Not with your will, but with His wisdom. Trust that whatever He breaks, He will rebuild stronger, purer, and full of light. There will be times in your life when you've made dua again and again, and all you see is silence. You've begged Allah for change. You've asked Him to open doors. You've prayed during the night, cried during the day, and yet nothing seems to move. Nothing feels different. And in that stillness, your heart begins to ache. You ask yourself, why is Allah not answering me? What am I doing wrong? But what you may not see is that the delay is not a sign of rejection, it's a sign of preparation. Allah is not ignoring you, He's developing you. He's preparing your heart, your character, your life for what's coming. Because sometimes the thing you ask for is beautiful, but you're not ready to carry it yet. You may have asked for success, but Allah knew your ego wasn't ready. You may have asked for marriage, but He saw wounds in your heart that would hurt someone else. You may have asked for a blessing, but He wanted to teach you how to handle it with humility, not pride. The delay is not a denial, it's a pause full of mercy. A sacred pause that is shaping you into someone who can receive the blessing and hold it with grace. Just like a fruit doesn't ripen overnight, just like a flower doesn't bloom in seconds, your life too needs time to mature. And during that waiting period, Allah is doing deep work inside of you. He's softening your heart. He's removing people who don't belong in the next chapter. He's placing you in situations that teach you patience, faith, and resilience. Because when the gift finally arrives, it won't come to an empty soul, it will come to someone who's been forged through the fire of waiting. So don't hate the delay. Don't curse the stillness. Sometimes Allah makes you wait not because you're being punished, but because He loves you too much to give you something before you're ready to receive it. Think about this. Would you hand a sword to a child? Would you give someone something powerful when they're not yet wise enough to handle it? Of course not. That's not kindness, that's harm. Allah sees what you cannot. He sees the future. He sees your soul. And He knows that sometimes waiting is protection. Waiting is mercy. Waiting is the bridge between who you are and who you need to become. And here's the beauty of it. Every moment you remain patient in that delay, you are being rewarded. Every tear you shed while trusting Him is lifting you higher. Every time you say, Ya Allah, I leave it in your hands, the angels record that trust, that surrender, that sabr, and Allah never lets sabr go unrewarded. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever remains patient, Allah will make him patient. And no one is given a gift better and more comprehensive than patience. Bukhari. So the next time you feel like nothing is changing, remember, just because you don't see the answer doesn't mean it's not happening. Some blessings grow underground before they bloom in public. Some changes happen silent until the moment they arrive and you realize everything was being arranged behind the scenes. Allah is not late. He is never late. He is only working on a schedule that is wiser than yours. And when the moment comes, when all the pieces fall into place, when your heart receives the very thing it has been aching for, you will fall into sujood and whisper, Ya Allah, your timing was perfect. I just needed to trust you. That's the power of divine delay. It's not wasted time. It's preparation time. It's mercy in disguise. And when it finally unfolds, you'll understand that the wait was not just worth it, it was necessary. Sometimes the biggest shift in your life begins not when something ends, but when someone leaves. A friend, a companion, a person you trusted, someone you thought would stay forever suddenly walks away and you're left with silence, confusion, pain. You sit in that stillness and wonder, why did they leave? Why did Allah let them go? But what you don't realize in that moment is that their exit was your protection. Their absence was your redirection. Their silence was Allah's way of saying, it's time you depend on me, not them. You see, people are a gift, but they are not your anchor. They can love you, support you, encourage you, but they can never carry your soul. They were never meant to. And when your heart begins to lean too much on them, when your happiness starts to depend on their presence, when your self-worth begins to attach to how they treat you, Allah, in His mercy, removes them, not to punish you, but to save you, to pull you back to the only one who will never leave. Because Allah wants your heart to belong fully to Him before anyone else. He wants you to feel full with His love before you chase it in others. He wants you to turn to Him first, not last. And sometimes the only way to do that is to let people go. And it hurts. It truly does. Losing someone you loved, someone who knew your story, someone who made you feel seen, that can feel like the world is falling apart. But what you'll come to realize with time is that Allah didn't leave you with nothing. He left you with everything you need Him. And when Allah fills the space they left behind, something shifts inside you. You stop begging for attention. You stop chasing people who don't see your worth. You stop shrinking yourself to be accepted. Because now you know the one who created you is enough. The one who sees you in every moment is enough. The one who never grows tired of your voice, your tears, your silence, that's the one who truly stays. And here's the beautiful part. When you finally feel whole with Allah, He brings you people who add to your peace, not take it away. People who remind you of Him. People who don't complete you, because only Allah can do that, but who walk beside you without needing to fill your emptiness, because that emptiness is already full. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, He will replace it with something better. So when someone is removed from your life, remember, their exit might be the opening of something far greater, a deeper connection with Allah, a stronger version of yourself, a path that leads you to something real. So the next time someone walks away, don't chase them. Don't question your worth. And don't fall into despair. Instead, fall into sujood. Tell Allah, Ya Rab, I miss them, but I trust you. If you took them away, then I know you're protecting me from something I cannot see. Because sometimes what looks like rejection is divine elevation. Sometimes what feels like loneliness is sacred intimacy. And sometimes the pain of losing people is what finally allows you to find Allah. And that moment when you stop searching outward and begin returning inward is the beginning of true peace. That's not a loss, that's transformation. One of the most mysterious and powerful ways Allah changes your life is through pain. The kind of pain that brings you to your knees. The kind that keeps you up at night, staring at the ceiling, asking questions you never asked before. The kind that makes your chest feel heavy, your eyes stay wet, and your heart wonder if it will ever feel normal again. And in that depth of sadness, in that private battlefield within your soul, you begin to feel broken. You may even say, why me, Ya Allah? You wonder if you're being punished. You look at other people smiling, living freely, while you're silently suffering and trying to survive. But here's the truth, my brothers and sisters, that pain is not a punishment. It's a wake-up call. It's a divine alarm from the one who created you, not to harm you, but to awaken what has been sleeping inside you. Because sometimes we get too comfortable in this world. We settle for less. We distract ourselves with people, noise, entertainment, work, anything to avoid looking deep into our own hearts. But Allah in His mercy doesn't want you to live distracted. He wants you to live with purpose, with meaning, with your soul awake and your heart connected to Him. And sometimes the only thing that can break the illusion of comfort is pain. Pain strips away the noise. It silences the outside world. It forces you to slow down, to feel, to reflect, to remember that you are not in control land, you were never meant to be. It is often in our lowest moments that we finally say the most sincere, most humble, most broken and yet most beautiful words we've ever said. Ya Allah, I need you, I can't do this without you. And that is the exact moment when change begins, not just in your situation, but inside you. Because pain doesn't just break things, pain rebuilds you. It opens parts of your heart that were closed. It makes you feel deeper, pray softer, love more carefully. It cleanses your soul of arrogance, distraction, and forgetfulness. and it replaces it with humility, softness, and sincerity. Have you ever noticed how people who've gone through real pain often carry a special light in their eyes, a wisdom in their words, a calmness in their voice that didn't come from ease? It came from struggle, from long nights of crying, from losing things they thought they couldn't live without and discovering that Allah was enough all along. Sometimes Allah removes your comfort to reveal your strength. Sometimes He takes away your plans to show you His. And sometimes He breaks your heart not to destroy you but to rebuild you in a way that the old version of you could never imagine. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ went through the most painful trials, losing loved ones, being rejected by his people, being exiled from his home. But it was through those trials that he reached the highest level of character, compassion, and connection with Allah. His pain didn't break him. It shaped him into the greatest human being to ever walk this earth. So when you go through pain, don't assume it's a curse. Look deeper. What is Allah trying to show you? What is He pulling you away from? What is He guiding you toward? What part of your soul is He waking up? The purpose of pain is not to leave you bitter, it's to bring you back to better, to make you reflect, reassess, and return to what really matters. And here's the most beautiful part. Allah never wastes your pain. Not a single tear, not a single breathless prayer, not a single night you couldn't sleep. Every moment you endured with patience is written with honor. Every silent cry is heard. Every test is tailor-made to elevate you. Allah is not trying to destroy you. He's trying to transform you, to take you from who you were to who you're meant to be. Someone softer, stronger, wiser, and closer to Him. So the next time pain visits your life, don't only ask why, ask what now? What is Allah trying to teach me? What am I supposed to let go of? What truth is He showing me that I've been ignoring? Because sometimes the most beautiful chapters of your life begin with the most painful pages. And if that pain leads you back to Allah, if it makes you raise your hands and say, Ya Allah, I trust you, then that pain wasn't your enemy. It was your turning point. It was the door to your purpose. And Allah loved you enough to open it. There will come a time when everything around you starts to change: your home, your environment, the people you spend time with, your job, your daily habits, and sometimes even the place you once called safe. You feel like your world is shifting under your feet and you're not sure if it's a blessing or a loss. It all feels unfamiliar, uncomfortable, strange. And in the middle of it all, you wonder, why is everything changing all of a sudden? What happened to my routine? Why do I feel like I'm being pushed away from everything I once knew? But what you don't realize is that sometimes the first step to your transformation is relocation. Not just physically, but spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. You see, Allah knows when your soul has outgrown its surroundings. He knows when the space you're in, your friendships, your habits, your lifestyle can no longer serve your growth. Maybe the place you're in is stunting your faith. Maybe the people around you are holding you back from rising. Maybe your environment is too noisy for your heart to hear what Allah is trying to say. And so He begins to shift you. He rearranges your life, not because He wants to confuse you, but because He wants to awaken you. Think of a seed buried in the soil. Before it grows upward, it must push through darkness. It must break through the ground. It must separate from what held it for so long. That process is messy. It's uncertain. But it's also necessary because the seed cannot bloom where it was planted unless something changes. In the same way, you cannot grow into who you're meant to be if you stay in environments that suffocate your soul. Sometimes the people you loved begin to drift away, not because you did something wrong, but because Allah is creating space for someone better. Sometimes the places you once found comfort become cold and quiet, not to hurt you, but to push you toward places where your faith can breathe again. And you may not recognize it at first. You may resist the changes. You may try to force old doors to stay open. But slowly, gently, Allah begins to move you away from harm, away from distraction, away from what is easy but empty, so that He can lead you to something that feeds your soul. You might be forced to let go of a toxic friendship that was slowly poisoning your heart. You might lose a job that looked good on paper but made you neglect your salah. You might feel pushed into a season of isolation, not to punish you but to teach you how to stand alone with Him. Because sometimes Allah has to take you away from the crowd so you can finally hear your own heart and hear His call. There are moments when you find yourself alone in a new place, a new routine, a quieter version of life. And in that stillness, something begins to happen. You start talking to Allah more. You start praying not out of habit, but out of longing. You begin to reflect, you begin to heal. And for the first time, you realize peace was not in the place. Peace was not in the people. Peace was in proximity to Allah. When He removes your comforts, it's because He's preparing your soul for clarity. When He changes your surroundings, it's because He's guiding you towards something deeper. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was forced to leave Makkah, his home, his people, his memories. It was painful. It was uncertain. But that migration, that change, was the beginning of victory, the beginning of light, the beginning of something far greater than what he left behind. And so it is with you. Sometimes the life you knew must be shaken so you can awaken. Sometimes Allah pulls you out of your comfort zone, and not because you were failing, but because you were meant to rise higher than you ever imagined. So when things around you begin to shift, don't panic. Don't beg for the old life. Don't fight to stay where you were. Instead, whisper this: Ya Allah, I don't know where you're taking me, but I trust that it's better than what I'm leaving behind. And then take that first step in faith, because what looks like a loss is often a launch. What feels like being removed is actually being repositioned. And what seems like the end of stability is actually the beginning of spiritual strength. Allah never uproots you without a reason. He never pulls you from the soil unless He's planting you somewhere better. And when you grow into the space He has chosen for you, when your heart finally finds peace in the unknown, you look back and realize every shift was sacred. Every change had purpose. And every unfamiliar season was the beginning of a better version of you. One that stands taller, one that walks lighter, and one that walks closer to Him. There will come a time when you feel like life is on pause. Everything you try to do gets delayed. The things you once moved towards so confidently now seem just out of reach. You try to move forward, but every step feels heavy, like something is pulling you back. You set goals, you make dua, you put in the effort, and yet nothing opens. And in that stillness, your mind starts racing. You begin to wonder, why is everything slowing down? Why can't I move forward? Why is my progress frozen when everyone else seems to be moving ahead? But my dear brothers and sisters, what you may not realize is that this divine process, slowing down of your plans, is not rejection. It's not failure. It's not a sign that you're forgotten. It's Allah saving you from rushing towards something that would have broken you. It's Allah protecting you from a door that looks beautiful now but hides harm you cannot yet see. We live in a world that glorifies speed, fast success, quick answers, immediate results. But Allah's wisdom is not built on speed, it's built on perfect timing. And sometimes He slows you down not because you're not worthy, but because what you're rushing toward isn't worthy of you. Or worse, it's dangerous for your soul. You may think that job is perfect for you, but what if Allah saw that accepting it would cause you to compromise your deen? You may think that person is your future, but what if Allah knew they would slowly damage your self-worth or pull you away from Him? You may think that opportunity is your big moment, but what if Allah saw that the success would lead to arrogance, distraction, and loss? So instead of letting you run into destruction, Allah slows you down. He blocks the path. He closes the door. He creates delay not to punish you, but to protect you. And protection doesn't always feel peaceful in the beginning. Sometimes it feels like failure, sometimes it feels like rejection, but it's not. It's love in disguise. It's mercy wrapped in silence. It's a wall built to keep you from walking off a cliff you didn't see. Just like a parent pulls their child away from the fire, even if the child screams in frustration, Allah too holds you back when you chase something that would hurt you. Even if you don't understand, even if you resist, even if you cry and say, Ya Allah, why aren't you letting this happen? And the answer, if your heart could hear it, would be gentle and full of love. Because I see what you don't. Because I know what you can't. And because I love you too much to let you hurt yourself. Think about how many times in your life you were desperate for something and now years later you say, Alhamdulillah, it didn't happen. What felt like the end of the world back then now feels like the best thing that could have happened. That is the power of divine protection. That is the beauty of delay. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you should know that if the entire nation were to gather to benefit you with something, they would not benefit you except with what Allah had already prescribed for you. Tirmidhi. Nothing meant for you will miss you, and nothing that misses you was ever meant for you. So when Allah slows you down, it's not because your life is on hold. It's because something unseen is being removed from your path, or something better is being prepared in the background, or maybe, just maybe, your heart isn't ready yet, and Allah in His mercy is giving you time to grow before the blessing arrives. Sometimes we are so focused on the destination that we forget the journey is where our soul is being refined. The waiting, the slowing down, the quiet moments of delay, these are not wasted seasons. They are sacred. They are filled with unseen work. Your heart is being strengthened, your patience is being expanded, your faith is being tested and deepened. And one day, when the timing is right, when the path is safe, when your heart is ready, Allah will remove the barriers. The same road that once felt blocked will open with ease. The same opportunity that once escaped you will return with blessing. The same prayer you thought went unheard will bloom before your eyes. And you will look back at the delay and say, Ya Allah, thank you. You were protecting me the entire time and I couldn't even see it. So, if you feel like life has slowed down, if your plans are stuck, your heart is restless and the doors won't open, don't fall into frustration, fall into trust, fall into sujood, fall into the arms of the one who sees what's ahead. Because Allah doesn't slow you down to punish you. He slows you down to save you. And when He opens the path again, it won't just be safe, it will be right, it will be beautiful, and it will be exactly what your soul was waiting for. There is a moment in every believer's life when they realize that real change doesn't begin with what happens around them, it begins with what happens inside them. You can change your environment, you can change your job, your friends, your routine. You can travel the world, start over in a new city, read every self-help book you can find, but if your heart remains the same, nothing will truly feel different. This is one of the most beautiful and most powerful ways that Allah changes your life. He begins not with your situation, but with your soul. Not with the world outside you, but with the world within you. Because your heart is the control center of everything. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your relationships, your dreams, they all flow from your heart. So when Allah wants to guide you, elevate you, or prepare you for something better, He doesn't always change your circumstances first. He changes your heart. And that internal change, my brothers and sisters, is often the hardest but the most transformational. Allah tells us in the Quran, indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves. Surah Ar-Radid 13:11. This is not just a statement, it's a divine law. It means that outward transformation only begins when inner surrender takes place. When the heart opens to Allah, change begins. But what does it mean to change your heart? It means Allah removes arrogance and replaces it with humility. He removes attachment to people and replaces it with attachment to Him. He softens what has been hardened. He awakens what has gone numb. He fills the hollow places inside you with meaning and light. And He shows you, sometimes gently, sometimes painfully, where you need to grow. Changing the heart is not always a peaceful process. It can feel like being stripped of everything that once defined you. It can feel like confusion, like emotional turbulence, like spiritual discomfort. You may find yourself crying without knowing why, feeling restless without understanding where it's coming from, losing interest in things you once loved, being drawn to solitude, reflection, quiet. That's not sadness. That's your heart entering a different season. That's Allah preparing you for a new level of closeness with Him. He might break your pride through failure. He might soften your heart through loss. He might humble your soul through struggle. He might wake you up through heartbreak. And all of it is mercy. Because the moment your heart begins to change, your entire world starts to shift. You begin to see things differently. You start walking away from things that once tempted you. You stop chasing the things that drained you. You begin to crave the things that bring you closer to Allah. Quiet mornings, sincere du'as, deep sujood, real companionship, honest work. You begin to love differently. You speak with more kindness. You listen more deeply. You stop needing the approval of people and start seeking the pleasure of the one who made you. Your soul no longer feeds on validation, it feeds on remembrance. That's when you know Allah has touched your heart. And the signs of that change are beautiful. You begin to feel uncomfortable with sin. You begin to miss salah if you delay it. You cry in sujood without needing a reason. You walk away from gossip, from lies, from anything that feels dark. You choose peace over pride. You choose silence over reaction. You choose truth over comfort. But this change isn't loud. It's quiet. It's slow. It's internal. And because it's internal, many people won't see it. They may still treat you like the person you used to be. They may doubt your sincerity. They may question your transformation. But that's okay, because you didn't change for them. You changed for the one who sees your heart when no one else can. And Allah sees the effort. He sees how hard it was to walk away from certain habits. He sees the discipline it took to lower your gaze. He sees the courage it took to say no to something that once tempted you. He sees the moments when you wanted to give up, but you whispered, Ya Allah, help me, and kept going anyway. And He rewards that. Every internal struggle is recorded. Every spiritual breakthrough is honored. Even the silent battles, especially the silent battles, are seen and loved by Him. This kind of change is not instant. It's not always linear. You will have good days and bad days. Days where your heart feels full of light, and days where you feel distant and empty. That's normal. That's human. Even the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam experienced highs and lows in faith. But what matters is that your heart keeps turning back, keeps trying, keeps returning to Allah, because a heart that returns again and again is a heart that is alive. Sometimes people ask, why isn't my life changing? And the answer is, because the heart hasn't surrendered yet. You're still holding on to the same ego, the same pride, the same grudges, the same wounds you refuse to heal, the same sins you're afraid to leave. But once the heart opens, it says, Ya Allah, I give up control. I want to be better. I want to be close to you. That's when the real change begins. Because when Allah changes your heart, your choices change, your circle changes, your habits change, your goals change, and eventually your entire life changes. The most beautiful transformations are not the ones that make noise on the outside. They're the ones that happen quietly when no one's watching, when your heart begins to feel light again after years of carrying pain. So if you feel that shift happening in your heart, don't ignore it. If you feel that longing for Allah growing inside you, don't run from it. If you feel that discomfort with your old habits increasing, don't numb it. That's your soul waking up. That's your fitrah, remembering where it came from. That's Allah answering a dua you may have made years ago without even realizing it. The path of inner change is sacred, it's quiet, it's often invisible to the world, but it is powerful in the sight of Allah. So protect your heart, feed it with Quran, soften it with dhikr, strengthen it with salah, guard it from jealousy, arrogance, hatred and despair. Surround it with good people, uplift it with good words, and always ask Allah to keep it guided. Because once the heart is right, everything else begins to align. Once the heart is connected to its creator, no test feels too heavy, no blessing feels too big, and no success feels like it belongs to you alone. Everything becomes a means of drawing closer to Him. So if you're praying for a change in your life, start with your heart. Because that's where Allah always starts. And once He changes the heart, He changes everything. My brothers and sisters, if only you knew what Allah is preparing for you right now. If only you could see how every delay, every loss, every tear, and every unanswered prayer is gently leading you to something greater. You would stop questioning. You would stop rushing. You would place your hand over your heart and say, Ya Allah, I trust you even when I don't understand you. Sometimes Allah hides the blessing in the hardship. Sometimes He places the light at the end of a long tunnel so that when you reach it, you're not just grateful, you're changed. Because the goal was never just to bless you with more. The goal was to make you into someone who's worthy of receiving more. You see, it was never about what you lost. It was about what you were about to find. It was never about who left you. It was about who was always with you. It was never about what fell apart. It was about what Allah was building within you. Your strength, your patience, your faith, your trust, your heart. And yes, your heart needed to break just enough for light to enter. And yes, your plans needed to fail just enough for you to finally say, Ya Allah, you lead, I follow. So let go. Let go of trying to force your life to work the way you imagined. Let go of blaming yourself for the closed doors. Let go of the story that says nothing is changing, because change is happening. It's just happening in silence, in the unseen, in your soul. And Allah is never in a rush, because He's not just writing your story, He's rewriting your heart. And one day you'll wake up and you'll realize you're not the same person who cried months ago. You're not the same soul who begged Allah in the dark. You've grown, you've softened, you've matured, and you've found a closeness to Allah that you never imagined. That's when you'll know He didn't just change your life. He changed you so that you could live the life your old self could never carry. So today, pause, breathe, and with every heartbeat say, Ya Allah, I don't want a life that looks good. I want a life that feels close to you. Ya Allah, if I lose anything in this world, don't let me lose my connection with you. Ya Allah, clean my heart from what distances me from you. Ya Allah, give me the strength to trust your plan even when my heart is tired. Ya Allah, write peace in my chest, patience in my soul, and light on my path. And for all those silent du'as you've been making, all those late nights when you said nothing but your tears spoke everything, all those days you smiled outside but cried inside, just know they're not forgotten, they're not wasted, they're not ignored. They are with the one who hears what the tongue cannot say and knows what the heart cannot explain. And when the time is right, those silent du'as will echo through your life, not as answers but as miracles. Ya Allah, change our hearts before you, change our lives. Ya Allah, don't just open doors for us, guide us to the ones that lead to your mercy. Ya Allah, grant us patience in every delay, faith in every hardship, and gratitude in every blessing. Make our pain a pathway, make our tears a healing, make our life a reflection of your mercy. And when it's all said and done, let us return to you with hearts that are clean, whole, and full of light. I mean, your story is still unfolding. And the author of your story is the most merciful of those who show mercy. So walk forward in hope and never stop whispering your du'as, because your whisper today may be your miracle tomorrow. This is how Allah changes your life.